In this video, we will listen to Neville Goddard discuss a very important topic. He will talk about how to start acting like a doer and stop being a hearer only. To be more specific, how to start to put all this information and techniques into action and make them work. Daring to assume that all things are possible to imagine puts this one reality to the extreme test by assuming you are the person you would like to be. Your reasonable mind and outer senses may deny it, but I promise you, if you persist, you will receive your assumption. You are the same God who created and sustained the universe but is keyed low, so you must be persistent if you would bring about a change. So the key to using the law of assumption to manifest your desires is to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. When your assumptions change, the universe reorganizes itself to serve the fulfillment of that assumption. Your only task is to keep this assumption in place until your exterior world becomes a direct representation of your interior state. However, we frequently allow our assumptions to be derailed by external forces that disrupt our manifestations. The first technique to keep applying the law of assumption is to ignore your external reality, whatever it may be at the time. Nothing exists outside of your consciousness, according to the law of assumption, and your entire view of the universe is only a projection of your internal awareness. As a result, your current reality is simply a projection of your previous assumptions. Many of us were taught to rely on outside evidence to validate our assumptions. However, the law of assumption argues that we use our assumptions to validate external evidence. Now, based on what we just mentioned, how exactly does the law of assumptions work? The law of assumption works by programming your subconscious mind with new beliefs or assumptions. Your subconscious mind is in charge of 95% of your actions and the repercussions of those acts. By convincing your subconscious mind that you already have your want, your body will go into automatic mode and manifest it in your physical reality. It works whether you believe in it or not. Someone who believes they are a fantastic driver, for example, will have fewer accidents than someone who believes they are a horrible driver. Someone who believes they are attractive will attract much more dates and partners than someone who believes they are unattractive. These seemingly innocuous experiences demonstrate the power of the law of assumption and how it is always in effect. Our thoughts and beliefs are reflected in our life, the type of person we believe we are in terms of money, love, job, and so forth. But the beauty is that we may modify anything at any time. I believe the main challenge with this topic is that while it is empowering, it is also quite dangerous for the same reason. It is much easier to blame an outside force or other individuals. Furthermore, we believe it is difficult. However, this is not the case. We are what we believe. You have been thinking all of your life, and it is now reflecting on you. All you have to do now is change your thoughts, take the wheel, and steer your life. However, you must continue to express and practice your new ideas until they materialize and appear in your life. And for that, my friends, you must be consistent and self-disciplined. There is no other way. Love yourself enough to put in the effort for what you want to see in your life rather than what happens. Now let's hear Neville in his own words. But before moving on, remember to subscribe to our channel if you like our daily content. Make sure to listen carefully. Enjoy.
So here it is really the servant of the Lord speaking. And he's giving us some fantastic instruction and very practical instruction. Now listen to it carefully. I'm now going to quote from the very first chapter of the book of James. Be doers of the word, and not hearers only. For he who is a hearer and not a doer is like a man who observes his natural face in a mirror, then goes his way and at once forgets what he is like. But he who looks into the perfect law, the law of liberty, and perseveres, he will be blessed in his doing. Now, how do I look into the law, the perfect law, which sets me free, the law of liberty? I look into my mind. I'm now imprisoned. I've heard the sentence. I know exactly how long I'm supposed to serve. Now I look into the law of liberty in my mind. And I assume that I am free. I'm set free. How? I am not concerned. Who brought it about? I am not concerned. I simply look into the perfect law, the law of liberty, and I dare to assume that I am free. If I dare to assume that I am free, I rearrange the structure of my mind, the same mind that heard the sentence that I accepted when I heard it. Now I do not accept it. I look into the perfect law, the law of liberty. And if, as I'm told in Scripture, I persevere, then I will actually receive that which I am doing. I must not forget what I have done and sleep this night as though I am in prison. For if I am now set free, where would I sleep? Let me know exactly where would I sleep. Well, dare to assume that I am sleeping there now. If I sleep in the assumption that I am free, I am not in jail. Even though the bars are there, I don't see them, close my eyes against them. As Blake tells us, man's perceptions are not bounded by organs of perception. He perceives more than sense, so ever acute, can discover. And so reason, or the ratio of all that we already know, is not the same that it shall be when we know more. If I take this tonight and test it, and it proves itself in the testing, well, then I have added to my knowledge. And so I know more than before I tested it. And so when I find myself up against something that seems beyond solution, I have found something that can solve it. All I have to do is to rearrange the structure of my mind. So I dare to assume that I am the man that I would be, and sleep as though I am. That's the rearrangement of that structure of the mind. I'm the same being. I'm Neville. I know exactly those that I knew before, but now I know them differently. I know them now as a freed man. But I must not be a hearer of what I heard in Scripture. I must be a doer. I must do it. So be not a doer only. Be a doer in the full sense of the word. So that I'll do it and persist. The word is persevere in Scripture. The first chapter, the 22nd through the 25th verses of the Epistle of James. So I will simply do it. And though tomorrow I am confronted with the obvious facts of life that I'm still in prison, it still doesn't matter. I did it, I am doing it, and I will continue to do it until that which I have done is perfectly externalized within my world.